Chapter 13. Struggle and Humiliation. Here's Saul, like all of us, in this transformative process. Still, he's experiencing solitude. He's in the road from the desert to Damascus. And in that road, the journey went smoothly, says Emmanuel. Aquila and Prisca were with him, but then they parted ways. And he felt that invisible powers were conferring lofty and consoling inspirations on his mind. He had found an unexpected inner strength unknown to him before, and Emmanuel unveils to us that for the next 30 years, Stephen in spirit would be accompanying Saul. How fascinating to show us that once we take the decision to go back to track, we'll be closely inspired, guided, and protected by our guides and mentors. Well, he got into Damascus. He sees Ananias. His first wish is to go to the synagogue. There, he's treated as a traitor. They want to arrest him, but he couldn't do it because he was a very smart man, and he understood that they didn't have the paper, the warrant, and then he left. Well, Ananias very quickly understood that if he stayed in Damascus, he would be arrested. So he suggests, you better get away. And he got it in a very interesting way, inside of a wicker's basket. Well, once there, he left the city of Damascus and then traveled on foot to Jerusalem. On his way, he passed by Capernaum, Nazareth, and then recalled the passages that he read and heard about Jesus. Once in Jerusalem, he looked for his sister, Delilah, and then he got to know from his former friend Alexander, that also couldn't understand his transformation, that actually his mother died of shame once she got to know that he converted to Jesus' teachings. And his father also moved to another city, and Jacob and Delilah were also so ashamed they moved away. Once there, he said, what do? I don't have much money. I don't have anybody here in Jerusalem. The people who used to be in my life cannot understand me anymore. So here's when we make a pause and get to know of one of the other steps into our transformative road. What is it? When we forcedly will need to redefine ourselves, and with that, we redefine our relationships. It is an inevitable process. There is no other way. Some people want to change their lives, shift their lives, transform themselves, but they forget that when we redefine ourselves, naturally, we will redefine our relationships. It's about chemistry. It's about vibrations. Not necessarily our most loved ones will understand us. And then what do? Just like Saul, we look for the ones that are like-minded, but sometimes, depending on what we do or what we had done, not even them will accept us completely and with open arms. Well, that's what happened to him when he knocked at the door of the House of the Way. Prochorus opened the door, and when he got to know that Saul of Tarsus was there, he was shaken. He told Simon Peter, James, John, Philip, Barnabas, and others. And everybody was in alert. And Simon Peter, in a quick meeting that they got together and decide, he teaches another lesson. A lesson that Emmanuel describes as, well, this legacy, my friends, Simon Peter says to his friends, does not belong to us personally. We must proceed with human prudence. Well, when Simon Peter says that, it's a teaching for us also as Spiritists. Sometimes we think we have ownership of Spiritism and we forget that this legacy is not ours. It's of Christ's. And we need to be prudent with the steps that we take towards embracing, taking decisions that not necessarily are the most appropriate ones. So that's what we learn with Simon Peter at this time. And what do they decide? They say, well, if he's the symbolic wolf, we will turn him down now. And if he's truly coming here after his transformation, he will understand. And he does. Prochorus goes back and says, they can't see you today. They will look for you. You stay where you are at your inn, and they will come to see you. And he says, okay, it's fine. I understand them. And he says, Jesus warned me that, with this journey, sufferings would come along, and I will have to show my testimony about my love for him. He was surprised. He went back in, told everybody. It was when Peter decided that Barnabas would represent everybody to go to the inn and talk to Saul. They went there, talked to Saul, and when Barnabas came back and told the news, he said, he's really transformed. They embraced Saul. They got in the house of the way, and Simon Peter very kindly, another lesson for us of forgiveness, of tolerance, embraced our dear and loved apostle. And another lesson for us, Emmanuel teaches us, is that in Peter's words, he says, the Master taught us that no worthwhile work can be done without fraternal cooperation. And he says that, teaching James that we need to embrace one another. The task is not only ours. And from there on, Saul, in a very beautiful and moving moment, he asks, because everybody, they don't want to go there blaming Saul for what happened, because they see he's transformed. So, but he's the first one to say, I want to sleep at Stephen's bed, because he recognizes then to everybody that he is aware of his mistakes. He goes there, sleeps, gets to know more about the dynamics of the House of the Way. Surprised a little bit that it's changed from when Stephen was there. It was a more Pharisaic dynamic. And once there, he, talking to Peter, is advised to leave Jerusalem because he won't be accepted there. He's advised to go to his father's city, Tarsus. And the reason why Peter says that is because he says the best position in life is the one of balance. We cannot be more than the master, better than the master. He says to Saul, there's time for everything. As we proceed with the continuation of this chapter.